Okay, I'm sitting here trying to get this Barwarus Sport 4 kit installed. And for the leader hook as well as the reinforcing sidebar, let's see if I can find that. Bumping things. This part right here, which goes on the left side of the receiver and connects the front lower handguard to the rear lower handguard. You need to use one of these basis locks. At first glance, this is a copy of the Zeneco basis lock. I mean, as you would expect. Now I have a Zeneco one right here. First thing you're going to notice is that the Zeneco one has a flathead slot on it, which is important because that allows you to use a small flat-headed screwdriver to manipulate this independently inside the basis slot, unlike M-lock, where you kind of have to rely on the friction between the outside nut and the inside nut in order to do it. The Zeneco one allows you to manipulate this independently, which is nice. This one doesn't have a slot on it, which on its own wouldn't be that big of a deal. But here's the real problem. The cam is cut backwards. If you look at the Zeneco one, the peaks of the cam are going this direction, so that when you're tightening this thing down, the tension on the screws will try to turn it sideways, and because of the nature of the cam, it will stop itself in the 90-degree position and then pull the rail closer to the pull your pick section closer to your handguard and lock in place. On the Barwarus, the cam is cut this direction. So when you're tightening it, when you're trying to loosen it, it tends to turn to the 90-degree position. Sorry, this is a bad angle with my fingers. It tends to turn to the 90-degree position and lock itself in place when you're trying to take it off. And when you're trying to put it on, it turns itself into the right side up position and stops, unlocking itself. Now here, so that's the Barwarus cam, which is essentially useless. The Zeneco one, which is unobtainium. And this one right here is another Zeneco copy made by 5KU in Taiwan. This is an airsoft part. Now, compared to the Zeneco one, you can see that they used a much narrower diameter screw head. Why? I don't know. I feel like they could have just made it exactly the same, but whatever. But the Taiwanese, had the decency to actually put a flathead slot on the lock. And more importantly, the cam is cut correctly, so that when you go to tighten this thing, it locks itself into place rather than unlocking itself. So I don't even know how I'm going to get this rail put on here. I guess temporarily I'm going to use... I got to decide whether I want to use my actual Zeneco cams to assemble this thing, or if I want to use an airsoft cam to assemble it. Or maybe come up with some sort of hardware solution where I put a nut on the inside, but I don't really want to do that. Come on, Barwarus. What are you doing?